maybe we could take a look at together, view in one lens, through one lens, if you will. This thing that I call self-transformation. It is the experience of, well, there's really no language for it, so I'll use whatever kind of language that I can and see if I can not curse. I'll be sent to hell if I curse. Uh-oh, wait a minute, I'm already in trouble. So, self-transformation, to me, is the awakening of self to self. In other words, it's the discovery that we have been, for thousands of years, asleep, ever repeating our history, living from thought, living from memory, living from knowledge, living from belief. The awakening from that I call transformation, and the doing of the transformation by the self then is why I call it self-transformation. The spark that causes evolution. Evolution means to say the birth of a new consciousness, a new way of being, a new human being that has no violence at its core. If we bring ourselves, our lives, that is, from knowledge, thought, and belief, then we're always bringing it from, well, again, there's no language for what I'm saying, so I'm just going to use the language that I was born into. When we bring our lives forth from what has already transpired, what's already gone by, our knowledge, our thought, our history, our beliefs, then we're bringing our present way of being into being from an already dead, already have happened, happening. So the only thing we can do then is repeat the happening. If that were the case for us human beings, then we would go from war to war to war and get ready for war in between. And we'd argue and fight and debate and have all kinds of reasonableness or justification and explanation about the fact that we were sound asleep instead of doing something to awaken ourself. So the something to awaken ourself that I speak of is to speak the truth. And of course, to speak the truth then would require, firstly, speaking a universal truth to ourselves about ourselves, which is that our entire life has been a lie and that we are each a liar. And then collectively, we're liars. Then we see if we can make our world work. A bunch of people lying to each other, stealing from each other, ripping each other off. We got multi-billionaires and people starving on the streets. And nobody doing anything about it in between. Everybody just having an excuse why we revere the Musks and the Muckleberries and whoever those rich people are. We hold them as something to become, and the homeless person is somebody not to become. So this experience that I am talking about here, even though it's impossible to talk about, is self-transformation, the birth of a new human being, or evolution. Evolution, I am suggesting here, doesn't happen like boom, like the Big Bang. It happens firstly from a spark. There's a boom. Oh, wait a minute. My whole life I have been asleep. And from that sleep, I've told a lie because I've always spoken from my history. I've always brought my life forward from my history. Then, when you see the truth of that, you realize, you get the experience that you don't know anything. Nothing at all. You know nothing at all. Everything must be learned, or everything must be discovered, actually. There's a distinction here. In a transformation, it is a discovery, because discovery is the removal of what we've learned. When we discover that we're robots, that discovery removes the learning that we are, all men are created equal, and all that nonsense that we've been living from. So whether or not I am, let's call it, making any sense, I don't know, because I'm just going from wherever my intelligence, if you will, takes me in this conversation. Because there's really no way, no language for a world where there's no violence. Our entire structure of language was structured in and from a world of violence. To speak from the world of peace has no language. There's no manner in which to speak from that, because there's never been peace on earth, except for now it is beginning. This conversation is part of the spark for the evolution of the human race, starting with your own self-transformation. Now, maybe I'm clear with my conversation. I had a conversation with a friend of mine today who said that the conversation or communication doesn't have anything to do with the listener. He maintains that it's all in the speaker. The speaker must speak in a manner, in a way, that it is completely clear for everybody who's listening. So I'm seeing if I can speak in such a way that it's clear for everybody who's listening. And if I'm failing, then it's my mistake, my failure. I am not speaking in such a way that people can actually see that this thing called peace on earth has been born. It has been manifested. It's on planet Earth. And it can't be recognized because it's in the self, it's in the person. That person wouldn't kill, maim, murder, wouldn't call names, wouldn't rip, roar, and lie. All of the things that our present consciousness is. So if I am not being clear, and if there happens to be one or two people listening here, perhaps post a question. Or perhaps see if you can discover that you're a liar. I know that that's not a pleasurable thing, not something that you would hear very often. As a matter of fact, probably there's many of you that if we were sitting across from one another, you'd smack me right in the face. Matter of fact, somebody did break my nose one time, and that's when I discovered this thing about turn the other cheek. After he broke my nose, I straightened it out and went into the bath, straightened it out, and then I came out and said, "Are you done? I don't want to have to worry about you coming up behind me or doing something later. Are you all finished with it?" And he said, "Yes," and I left. And upon leaving, I said, "Hey, wait a minute. That's what the Bible talks about when it says turn the other cheek. It means to say you don't hit him back. You don't get mad at him. You don't do any of that stuff. You simply make sure that the position or that the experience is complete so that you need not worry about it again." As a matter of fact, I saw that fellow several months later, and he congratulated me. He said, "I've not met anybody like that. I was all ready for a fight, and all you did was ask me if I was done." I don't know whether that made any impression on him or not. But anyway, that's a story about me. That's enough about me. My egotistical way of being had to get myself involved in there, didn't I? So I'm here to suggest to you, each of you, that self-transformation needs to be 100% your intent in order to manufacture, that's a strange word, in order to manifest it within yourself. Because the only manner in which peace on earth will manifest is if it begins in you. Because you are the violence of this planet. And the negation of your violence, which means to discover that you're violent, is what will bring forth peace on earth. Our violence, when we're trapped in this thinking or thought, that brought forth this world of violence, this world of killing, maiming, raping women, and going to war. The ending of that will happen when you end your own violence, because there is no them. There's no them that's starting the wars. There's no them that's doing all of this stuff. It's you doing it. You are the responsible party. It's your anger, your jealousy, your having to be right, your narcissism. It's my consideration that this might be, or could turn into be, my 6th book about transformation, self-transformation. A New Consciousness Born was the name of my first book, and Self-Transformation, You Are the second one. You Are the Source is the second one, and then, well, there was How My Death Revealed the Secret to Life, and Is It Possible to Raise a Sane Child in an Insane World? At any rate, it's a consideration, at least, that I might do a 6th one, Self-Transformation, the spark that ignites our evolution. It's for sure that we're not going to be struck by lightning. I'm not going to come down and do it all for us. If we are to save ourselves, if you will, if we are to transform, if we are to bring forth peace on earth, peace internally, first, of course, then it's up to us. If we are to experience evolution, the ending of violence is what evolution would be, it's up to us, not somebody else, not something else. Either we do it or there'll be no self-transformation. There'll be no spark that ignites evolution, and therefore there'll be no evolution. It is 100% up to us. You, me, and the fence post. And the fence post isn't going to do anything. So who does that leave? At any rate, it's been 18 minutes, I think. So I probably lost, wait a minute, 13 minutes. My eyeballs lie to me sometimes. At any rate, if you care to accept it, I send a perfect life to each of you, and the ability to discover for yourself your own self-transformation, the spark that ignites evolution. Thank you. Y'all.